Welcome to the Sleepy 8 podcast. This is episode 5, live here from the Calgary Petroleum Club. We're not live. This is video edited, just so everybody knows. Devin does a great job over there. If you guys do want to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button. It only helps us out on our algorithm on YouTube. And tell your friends all about us. We are on iTunes. Are we? We're on iTunes now. Cool. And we have a LinkedIn profile. We are a Facebook profile. We have, oh my God, what's that? Instagram, of course. Are we on Spotify? Yes, we are. All right. So there we go. We're on all those platforms.
Socials,
well,
yes.
You know, we're very popular.
Yes.
But please, no speaking until I'm done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. First of all, I want to introduce our next guest. She is one of our event planners. She's our corporate event planner at the office and Region 3 office. I think for us, having more events, which is very special, especially coming out of COVID, our members do need a place to come to. But our events are starting to get back to normal the way they were before. But now we have a different look to them. And I know we'll probably talk about that. So I'll introduce Domoslai to the conversation. Did I say your name right?
No.
Domoslai.
Jamie Domoslai. Yeah, that goes enough. I know, it's kind of a tongue twister. It's okay.
Anyways,
I'll forgive you.
Thanks for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about maybe some events we've done in the past and maybe some events that we have planned.
So one of the biggest things that I think really helps the community, our Métis community, would be our business and professional mixers that we host every third week of the month at the Lougheed House. This is a great opportunity for our local Métis entrepreneurs and Métis businesses, small businesses, to really have a opportunity to excel their business or career, to meet other professionals. There has been quite a few people who in the past have had success getting funding or even had a job opportunity come up. And it's a great foundation for, like I said, the entrepreneurs to kind of get their business out there and socialize and network. So I would say that's one of our most important events that we host.
So we cap it at 85.
Yeah.
There's no way we can go around that number.
I know, which sucks, because it would be more now because they're so popular.
Yeah. But they are fun. I mean, I think the mixers we've had before, and I'll just go back to history before you were here, they were in a nice hotel room. People would get up, stand up, and introduce their businesses, which is very, very important. And then have a buffet. And then people would just access the buffet, have their prize draw, and then go. Right?
Yeah.
So I kind of thought, well, and it was based in the Northeast, but I thought, having a business and professional mixer really needed to have a downtown or a feel to it.
Yes.
So we started moving those downtown. Unfortunately, we lasted maybe, I'd say 4 or 5 months, and then COVID hit, and all the hotels shut down.
Yeah.
And we had no way of doing this. I think we tried doing a couple online, which was very brutal in my mind.
Who showed up to that?
Oh my God, it was maybe 20 or 30
Oh, well,
people.
that's a better turnout than I had
But people were starting to introduce themselves, and then people were busy doing their own
dealing
thing.
with their kids.
Yeah, whatever. But yeah, it was, and how do you hand out prize draws? I think we did a draw online, then we'd send you the prize type thing. But then, after that, I just started, well, let's cement our relationship with the Lougheed House even further, because the Lougheed family had extended their arms and said anything we can do to help. And we just decided to do the mixers there. And
there's a lot of history behind that too with Métis, so it's
it was kind of the right fit. Yeah. But we are limited by numbers. But in essence, people come and they mingle.
Yeah.
Then they listen to music. We never had music at the mixers before.
And Métis music.
Yeah, exactly. And because we're doing that monthly, we've uncovered a lot more Métis talent, which is only beneficial for us too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think we're hitting that younger crowd now.
I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is really great because that's our future, right, for Métis Nation. And even, we have students as well who have big plans or who are just graduating. And I think that's important too. Like they're, to help them get on their feet and to land them a position or a job. It's pretty cool to see. And we also have testimonials that we have from quite a few businesses and people that it's like to see it come to fruition is pretty
More
incredible.
positive than negative testimonials?
Yes.
I presume? Okay.
Yes. You have to talk to Danielle about that. She's the one who filtered that out.
Danielle's her sister, by the way.
Yes, Danielle Domoslai. She's the marketing communications and as well as helps coordinate the mixers.
Yeah, so that newsletter that people do see, actually I have one.
Yeah. Danielle does the newsletters.
Yeah. But we have now a very nice newsletter that we hand out, and also on a Google form. So on Facebook, you can click that link and see what we're up to there. But I think our members are quite happy, and not forgetting what the seniors too, because they predominantly go into the mixers. But we have a place for them too, with all their activities.
The senior programs in the office,
That's right. Mainly are there, but like I said, if you guys can go to, is it connect@métis.org?
It's community@métis.org.
Community@métis.org, where you can RSVP for the mixers.
Yes.
And they're every third Wednesday.
And the Facebook page, the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3 Facebook page, has a lot of the information about the upcoming events and how you can attend them. But the mixers we're on a wait list, so you got to get in there pretty fast as soon as you see that post come up. And you can also request to be on our emailing list, so you'll get those updates for when we're having these events.
And there is a unique history to that Beltline mansion. It used to be called the Beaulieu House. Now it's the Lougheed House. And it's a national historic and provincial historic site. And part of Lady Isabella history, because she was deemed a lady, her husband was Sir James Lougheed. They would host these affluent parties to bring business into this area.
Yeah.
And to keep the dollars flowing in this province, not only politically, but it helped with industry. And a lot of these big companies that you see nowadays certainly attribute a lot to those gatherings.
Yep.
So we're not encouraging the same level of that, but we are continuing her legacy a little bit by having these events there, right?
Well, advancing the Métis economy is important for our people, because without, you cannot have a nation without an economy, essentially. So it's really, I think these mixers play a huge part in helping with that. I mean, by no means are we like Lady Isabella and Sir Lougheed, but it is nice to kind of carry that on, because you don't see a lot of that with other, First Nations or even other regions. I think it's great that we really focus on that and having a place for people to come together. And I've also heard that a lot from others, that it's, nice to just, even if you aren't there to talk about your business, it is nice to just know what other people do. And, there's so many different jobs and careers. There's something for everybody there. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah. And I like the fact that we're pretty open to other people coming into, big business, small business, other Indigenous groups, other, the immigrant population that comes here too. We've had some of them come.
Yep.
But it's nice for us to have a place where people can come and see that we're all together and we're working with one another. And hopefully we have some type of co-op or collective business interest from the people that come there, so they can go and flourish, We all we need is just to start it, and it'll build itself.
Yep.
We know there's provincial ones that they do mixers. A lot of it is sort of vendor style mixers. Ours is more mingling and music and stuff like that. So it's a bit different.
Yeah, it is kind of like a party.
Yeah, a little
but
bit.
in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Party and business.
Yeah. And then of course we kind of continuing that legacy with Lady Isabella Hardesty is,
Yep.
and then also knowing that it's a provincial historic site and seeing our Métis flag there flown year round, I think is important. I think even for our Métis Nation. And what's most important is, speaking about a government of Alberta's view of Métis south of the Red Deer River that, leaves us out of some programs currently, especially with our harvesting, to have a provincial designated historic site that's flying our flag. And I think a lot had to do with the Lougheed family and their influence too. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, we're pretty grateful for that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, is there any more plans over the summer or coming up in the spring or anything like that?
Yep. Actually, we have a few events kind of in the works right now. So we have at the Heritage Park happening in March, fiddle and jig dancing workshops. So this will be an opportunity for you to come down with your family. We hope for a family event if you can. And fiddle music and jig dancing is a huge part of Métis culture. And to be able to come to this and do the workshops and see, what these talented people can do and what they can offer and teach you, I think is really important. A lot of people don't see that part, from what I do is mainly just the business mixers. And so we don't get to showcase that as much because that's about networking for the most part at the business mixers. So to be able to have this event where we can showcase an other side of the Métis culture, I think is pretty incredible and fun. And so that will be at Heritage Park in the Gasoline Alley. So that's pretty cool. And afterwards will be a sit-down dinner. And April, at the end of April, we'll have the Entrepreneurship Awards.
Okay.
So that'll be a big thing too. We're hoping for about 250, 300 people to show up to that one. And that will show our kind of, I would say, appreciation and giving those entrepreneurs, their flowers for the hard work that they have done. And it's nice for them to have that appreciation and knowing that people actually respect what they do. And so it'll be interesting. I've actually never done this one coming up. So it's kind of a new thing for me, but I think I can make it pretty cool. Yeah, you've done it before, right? So that's the thing.
Yeah, like we would give out a large company award. We give it to small. We recognize all our volunteers who work in the business area, the ones who contribute to the regional office. We recognize them.
Yeah.
So there's mainly about a dozen certainly awards that we give out.
Yeah.
And we're pretty excited to do that again. That was one of the things that I think the last item that Marlene and them that did on their list that we're starting to do. Okay. Everything else is back to normal, but that is the last certainly event that we're doing.
Yeah.
So, and not really continuing our legacy, but we do these events with a sort of a different framework or a different look and see how it transfers to our community.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's all about reaching our populations that are suited for each one of those events.
Absolutely. So, and it's a different way of doing things now that maybe Marlene had done them. Now it's so advanced with the social media, and you kind of really need to have a team behind that to make that happen because it's so different now.
Yeah, and I attribute a lot to her because she had all these things planned out with hardly a budget. She would go out, do most of the planning herself.
It's pretty amazing. It's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, but it's very rewarding when it's done and everyone's, that whole team can see what their hard work, it's paid off. So
yeah, and that's one big demographic that I see that's kind of missing in our community is either guys my age or younger than that, or people in their 20s. Like it's really hard for me to really think in my mind, how do you get them to come out, right?
Yeah, it's wonderful to have the seniors and the elders come out, but like you said, with the with certain events, you want that demographic. You know, we do have the programs and the events for the seniors and the elders, and we do appreciate and love to have them everywhere we go. But to keep those cultures and traditions going, we do need to target that audience, right?
That's right. So it's like segmenting your audience, and it's like the marketing terms, right? Or they do that psychographic segmentation, what they call, and that's basically on your age or the way that you think, and attracting, retaining that sort of audience.
Is that SOCs or something like that?
Yeah, that's right.
That's above my head. That's a podcast for Danielle to come on and talk about that, because that is not something I know much about. But you're right. There is a whole algorithms and statistics, and it's pretty incredible. But if you have people who are knowledgeable about that, you can really flourish your business. And it does take a team. It takes a village nowadays, but Marlene, she's pretty incredible for doing that on her own, because even just my job itself, to reach out to all these people and have meetings with all these different people and to go back and forth, it's a lot of work. It's rewarding work and I enjoy it. But even for myself, it's quite tasking. So that's pretty incredible for her to do
and
that.
I always remember those events, and but yeah, she put a lot of work into those, and a lot of people that came to those events don't realize the amount of work that's put into it, and like how it's thought out.
It is
months before or prior. So it's definitely a change for me when I first got into office, but it was an education for sure.
Yeah.
But me having a dance background and arts admin, I kind of know how to do the marketing and trying to get people out into a theater. Well, it's kind of the same thing.
And you know how to entertain.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right?
But and also budgeting. I think that's important because these events do cost money, and especially when you're getting talent from out of town, it does increase it.
Well, absolutely.
So, but it's entertaining, right? So,
and it's important. It's important to showcase all sorts of different Métis peoples and talent. And you do have to go kind of search far and wide for that sometimes. But it's totally worth it. And it's easier to get, well, I shouldn't say it's easy to get the funds, but it is easier to, when you have people who are so talented, and to be able to share that with others, then you're more likely to get help that way, like on my end, right? So it's nice for me that I can explain that when I am trying to fundraise and get sponsors, that people are more willing to do so.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
It's a nice thing to have and to see, right?
Yeah, and a lot of these guys do have the wherewithal to help, put on events. Métis culture is very, very important to us. So we try to do the fiddling, the jigging. If it's a Métis musician, ensuring that musician is playing somewhat of a Métis content. I think that's important. But so we're portrayed ourselves as this is our culture. We're basically, all of us are on the stage, even as members who are mingling. And the outsiders are coming in to take a look. And what do they see? They see Métis culture. Right?
And you're right. That's, especially at the mixers, that's very important. Even when it comes down to the food, it's Métis food from a Métis caterer. We try to keep it all inclusive to that. And I think that's extremely important. As you can see, I think that's what was lacking before. And then now to have that, it's definitely more sense of community and, you know.
And my family are musicians, so like I kind of know, I grew up in that sort of way. But I mean, now we're doing golf tournaments. We're not going to a rodeo. That's what I grew up kind of going to a rodeo and watching the dances and having my dad play and the fiddle players. But yeah, it's changed, right?
It has.
But now we're hosting corporate events, but still bringing in that Métis grassroots culture.
Well, you have to adapt to, modern day society, but and it is unfortunate that culture tradition isn't as prevalent now. But I think we're doing a pretty good job of keeping in touch with that. I mean, there's only so much you can do, right? And I mean, I think we're doing pretty good of incorporating that.
I mean, I like going to the truck wagon events and rodeos,
Yeah.
Still, and then seeing the music. But a lot of that is around where I grew up, not in Prince George, but in Meadow Lake, in Lloydminster and all those. Like, it's still there, right?
Yeah.
I just want to figure out a way to bring that here.
Yeah. And I think you can. It's going to take some time, but it's also just finding that talent. It's, it's in Calgary. There really isn't or at least it's harder to find that talent.
Yeah. And Stampede is a big one.
Yeah.
I know I've been sort of trying to insert myself a little bit further into them, but so they understand that recognizing our truck wagon drivers who come down here, who make their way, is important to us as Métis people, because we're on the tarmac and we cheering them on and we know exactly who they are.
Yeah.
But there's nothing coming on the loudspeaker, right?
Yeah.
And also an opportunity for us to bring events, because we already do them in Calgary. We'll bring them into the park one day. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
So
I agree.
that's certainly a way that we can insert ourselves. I know Heritage Park is interested in more stuff now. So we're pretty excited about that. And hopefully with the new For Calgary president, they'll be interested in having some Métis events there. So we'll see.
Hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be great.
So I think that's pretty much it for me. Devin, do you have any questions? No, he's silent in the back.
He's like, no.
Yeah. But it was great to hear him on the mic last time. Nobody will ever see him though, right?
Incognito.
Yeah. He's a handsome gentleman and
Yes,
he's
you
young.
should be on the cameras.
Yeah. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for viewing today. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next week on the Sleepy 8 Métis podcast.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
In the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, and the Stoney Nakoda Nations, the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta.